Bitcoin's probably going to go to $50,000. Gold's going to go to $15,000, and silver will probably go to $200. Are you going to buy it then? It's coming soon. Be patient. Bitcoin boom beating gold and silver. What does that mean? It means you better buy as much as you can now. The train is moving, the dollar is dying, silver is still affordable for everyone. And as the dollar crashes, what counts is not price, but how many coins of gold, silver, or Bitcoin do you own?
Also, the question is, what do you jump into when you jump off the train? And the issue is, you can't jump into cash. Cash is trash because they're going to print money. What do? You get out.
So I don't save dollars because I don't trust the US dollar. And I just save gold and silver and recently Bitcoin. You know, they printed more money in 2020 than they did in the first 200 years of our country. And still people are saving dollars.
Statistically speaking, national currencies have a shelf life of about 30 years before they collapse in value because no government can resist the temptation of financing profligacy through printing. And so they print and print and print, and they devalue the currency and inflate it to nothing. They keep printing, and eventually you have this sudden collapse in confidence, and the currency spikes, the inflation spikes, and the value just drops.
But the average person has been conditioned to think about paper, fake money, fake dollars. At the same time, they're printing as much money as they possibly can. They give it to their rich friends. They don't give it to us. And then they print it, and interest rates keep going down.
They need to pay off their debt. And in order to do that, the best way to do that is to inflate the currency so that the debt shrinks in terms of its real value, because the currency is worth less, which is a way of stealing from savers. So essentially, you're attacking the savings of pensioners and other savers in the economy in a shadow tax through inflation to transfer money to the government. The government doesn't have savings, it has debt, so it doesn't care if the currency is worthless. Savers lose the value of their savings. Now, in order for this to work, you have to make your own currency worthless, and this is what the governments are trying to do.
I am always startled at how few people are aware of what's happening. You know, the United States is the largest debtor nation in the world by many factors, and we keep adding staggering amounts of money to our debt. This has always ended badly. I mean, this is going to end very, very badly when it ends.
It's coming soon. We're going to have negative interest rates. I don't know how they can do that. But if you deposit $100 in the bank, when I was a kid, I got 15% interest. So I put $100 in the bank, and a year later, I got $115. Today, you put $100 in the bank, and you got to pay the bank $15. And they're printing it. So the value of the dollar is going down, but the price of keeping the bank keeps going up. They charge you to keep your money in the bank. Why would you save money?
You know, inflation is not a naturally occurring phenomenon. It is purely a mode of taxation. And so I think when you start looking at central banking as less of an economic story and more of a crime story, you're starting to get the picture.
If you trust the U.S. government or the central banks, the Fed, and Wall Street, then save money. But if you don't, then buy gold, silver, and Bitcoin.
It allows us to create a kind of unified financial system that exists outside of the mandates of government, that is completely private and is very empowering for individuals.
The reason I like gold, silver, and Bitcoin, it's outside the system. It's out of reach of the U.S. government and the U.S. Treasury and things like this. So I love this stuff. I just simply do not trust my government.
It scares the hell out of governments to have people in control of their own money, at which point you should really ask yourself, what kind of government is that?
It's an apparatus for theft. It's designed to siphon value off of society until it collapses. And we've seen it happen time and time again. Like the inflation rate is inversely proportionate to social well-being. And you see that with any hyperinflating currency. What happens to social cooperation in Venezuela, right? You have cash in the streets. No one can trust anyone. No one can buy bread. How do you conduct your life? So Bitcoin just flips that whole thing on its head. It says we're taking inflation to absolute zero, which in theory would mean a society running on a Bitcoin standard could benefit in nearly infinite ways.
Creating a currency that does not belong to a nation seems weird at first. within 20 years, the idea of national currencies as the only option will seem absurd.
You know, now that the elections are over and all this, I don't care if it's Trump or Biden, they're going to have to print so much money just to pay for all of the social entitlement programs so people don't riot. They can't afford to have any more rioting. So they're going to print more and more money, and people are still saving dollars or yen or euro or pesos. Right now, you should be saving gold, silver, or Bitcoin.